It was in October of 2024 that I was in church, and my pastor, Pastor Curtis Bridgeman, he had a sermon that day. He was talking about starting over. Specifically, he was doing it again. It was at that sermon or during that sermon that I made the decision, like actively made the decision that, okay, I'm going to start over. I'm going to do it again. Because he said that maybe this again is the again that will propel you to the life that you want, propel you to the future that you dream of, propel you to your purpose. Maybe this again, who knows how many agains it will take. But if you quit, you will never get to that one, right? The life changing one. So it was during that sermon that I was like, okay, I'm going to do it again. But let's rewind a little bit. Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Vera Ezimora. I am a writer and a speaker, a podcaster, and a content creator. I almost forgot the last one. If you're new to my channel, I do call my tribe my sweet potato. So if you're watching this far, you are a sweet potato. Welcome. All right, let's rewind. So like I said, I was in church when my pastor preached about doing it again. But I wanted to give you a little bit of a backstory on why or how I even got to that place. I started creating content. It wasn't called content creation then, but I started creating content as a teenager. I was in my late teen years when I started. And before that, I just loved writing. I used to write articles. I wrote all these things on all these websites. And I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this on YouTube before, how I wrote majorly about relationships and marriage. And I was a teenager. So like, I technically knew nothing, at least not from experience. Everything I wrote was theoretical, but that's not the point. One day, a friend of mine, I was in college, university then, a friend of mine asked me, have you heard about blogging? Like, do you have a blog? And I'm like, what is that? So that's how I found out about blogging. And I opened up a blog. It was on Blogspot, owned by Google. And it was just the most fascinating thing for me, because the fact that I could own a space where I could write whatever I wanted to write was everything I could dream of. So I went ahead, I opened the blog. It was verastic.blogspot.com. No, it was veraezimora.blogspot.com. And I just started putting out, first I put out the articles I previously published, and then I started putting up new stuff. And then I opened up a new blog that was now verastic.blogspot. And at the time, I did not know anyone who was blogging. So I'm not saying I'm the first to own a blog. People own blog, but Vera, did not personally know of anyone who owned a blog. So I was just doing it because I wanted to do it. And I say that for a reason. And before I knew it, people found the blog. People were commenting on the blog. I made a lot of virtual friends. It was just blogging. It was just called blogging then. And then social media came in, Facebook, Twitter, and people kind of moved away from blogging and went into social media, understandably so. At that time, we just blogged for fun. We just wanted to put our stories out there. And that was all, that was as far as my dream went in terms of blogging. I had absolutely no plans to make money, no plans to turn it into anything other than what it was, a blog. But as time went on, the landscape changed. The creator economy was born and growing, and I was still blogging. Now, I made some money blogging because I did a lot of sponsored posts for brands, and it was fun, but it was pictures, right? It was pictures of the product and storytelling, basically. I think there was just one brand I did the video of, and I don't remember the name off the top of my head, but it was for skincare or stuff like that. The blogging era was fun for me. I enjoyed it. I mean, I was doing what I loved doing, which was writing, telling stories. I absolutely enjoyed it, and I made some money from it. But life also happened. Like, I graduated from college, I got a real job, I got married, I had a child. All these things were moments where my blogging change, where I staggered a little bit because life happened and priorities shift. But it didn't, I never stopped blogging. I never really stopped. I might have taken a quick break, but I never stopped. But then when I got divorced, I took a much longer break. I still came back, but it was different, it was different. I was in a different place mentally, emotionally. Like there was just so much else that I was trying to figure out, like getting my life back in order. But 3 years ago, when I lost my mom, that was a hard stop. I didn't even necessarily plan to stop, but it was a hard stop. A hard stop in the sense that I didn't even, it felt like my creative juices were drained. I did not have the desire to create. I didn't know how to create. I didn't have ideas on what to create. Like it was just gone. It was almost as if my life as a creator was a different life, a lifetime ago. Now I'm living a new life where I couldn't quite place myself. And it really bothered me. It bothered me because even when I was going through everything else that I went through, marriage ending, divorce, I was still writing, even if I wasn't writing publicly. A lot of times I didn't write on the blog, but it wasn't from lack of desire. It wasn't from lack of ideas. It was just, I don't want to, I don't feel like it. This time, however, it literally felt like the gift of creation had been taken back. Like God was like, you don't need this right now. And it was gone. Before this, I had a podcast and I took a break from the podcast. Before my mom passed, I took a break from the podcast. I was burnt out. I was doing everything myself. I was finding the guests. I was interviewing them. I was recording it. I was editing it. I was publishing. I was promoting. I was everything. And I just got burnt out. So I didn't mean to stop. It was just, oh my God, I don't have an episode this week. I'm too tired to edit. I'll do it next week. And it became next week, became next month. And before I knew it, time had passed. And then my mom had also passed. So now I really had nothing. I thought that I was done. I actually thought that I was done with this creative life. Like I'm never coming back to it because, like I said, I felt no desire to do it. So as far as I was concerned, that life was over. But the life did not quite leave me. And I mean that to say, no matter how much I thought I'd given up, Verastic is done, I'm not going back, there was this urge still pulling me. Like I still thought about, like something would happen in my life. It could be just a conversation I had with someone. And in my head, I'm already narrating. I'm practicing how to narrate this story to you. I'm practicing how to tell you, oh my God, sweet potatoes, guess what? Whether it's me writing it down or doing a video, whatever it was, I was already thinking about how to do it, but I never quite did it. And because I kept saying, no, I'm done with Verastic. I'm not doing that anymore. I don't think that that's my thing. And well, I guess I was wrong. During my first marriage, I had a YouTube channel. I had this YouTube channel. I didn't do much on it, but I did publish some videos because I was doing a vlog. I thought I wanted to vlog. I thought I wanted to share my everyday life every day, tell you, hey, look what's happened this week. And I started doing that. But after I started, I realized I don't quite like it. But I don't regret doing it because, if you sometimes when you have such an itch, if you don't scratch it, you constantly think, oh, I missed out on an opportunity. I should have, I would have. But I'm glad I did it because now I know that's not the content that I actually want to produce. But I still wanted to be on YouTube. I still had all these things I wanted to share with you, like today, like right now. I just did not have the desire or the strength or the know-how. I was exhausted, mentally exhausted, not just the physical exhaustion, but I was mentally exhausted. I was spiritually exhausted. I was emotionally exhausted. I just felt like maybe I'm barking up the wrong tree. There are things that I love doing. Having conversations is one of them. Like I never shy away from asking weird questions or uncomfortable questions or even having uncomfortable conversations. And even with my child now, like I don't shy away from it. I'm fine. I am comfortable with doing posts where I say ask me anything, and I did that a few times. It doesn't scare me because at most I think if somebody asks me a question that I cannot answer, then I don't answer the question. But I'm not afraid when it comes to having a difficult conversation. I'm not afraid of coming on here and telling you this, that, and the other. If you read my story about how my marriage ended, you know that I am not uncomfortable telling you the truth. If I can't tell you the truth, if I can't say it to you, then I keep it to myself. I'm not going to lie to you, but if I can't tell you the truth the way I want to tell you the truth, then I'll leave it alone. So, back to the sermon in church. Prior to this, I had been praying about my podcast. If you ever heard it, if you ever listened to it, it was called I Am African. And I Am African by Verastic, I think. I think there was by Verastic in it, but it was definitely called I Am African. And I had people of African descent, and we talked about anything and everything. We talked about infertility, we talked about divorce, we talked about sex during divorce, we talked about adoption, we talked about raising kids on the spectrum. All my guests were African. And it was nice. I liked it until I burnt out. But again, the desire to have the podcast was still there. But I felt like I needed to change some things. Like I needed to change the name. I liked the name, but it put me in the box. It meant I couldn't speak to non-Africans because this is about African people only. But then I am African, as in I myself am African. And so I thought, no matter what this podcast is called, there will always be an African element because I myself, the host, is an African. But I couldn't quite figure out how to bring it back. And then I knew I wanted to change, apart from the name, I wanted to change some other things. So I just kept praying on it without making any real movement towards it until that day where I was in church and Pastor Curtis preached about doing it again. And let me tell you something. You know what the hardest part about doing it again is? As I figured out, it's pride. Yeah. You know, pride is a coin, is a two-sided coin. There is the good pride, like when you're proud of yourself, confidence in yourself. That's a good kind of pride to have. Then there's the other pride, which is what I was suffering, even though I didn't know what that was, where I felt like, why should I have to do it again? Why should I have to start over? Like I've been here, done that. I am a veteran. I should not have to start over. That's how I felt. I felt truly like God failed me. Like, why are you making me start this process over again? I started it when there weren't many people doing it. Why do I have to get back into a crowded market and start from the beginning like I haven't been here all along? And that was really holding me back. I felt resentment. Yes, I felt resentment toward God because I'm like, why do I have some people start and they just take off? Why do I have to start and stop? And of course, I blamed him for the stops because I said, if you did not bring all these challenges into my life, I wouldn't have stopped. Every time you bring a challenge, I got to stop, I got to recalibrate, and you need to stop doing that. So I was very resentful of the fact that I was in this place where I was even considering starting afresh. So after I battled with the air, after I punched the air several times, I decided to go ahead and start afresh. I started working towards bringing the podcast back. I knew I wanted the name changed. So I played around and I played around and I played around. Eventually, I came up with a name. How did you get here? With Verastic, of course. Now, why did I name it How Did You Get Here? Well, I'm glad you asked. I named it that because everyone has a story. We see people at their peak, right? Where they're already successful, whatever that means. Successful, whether it's, they are now married with X amount of kids, or they are now making X amount of money, or they have this much power or this much fame, whatever that success looks like. We see them when they have arrived there. We don't see the journey. And sometimes you hear the journey and you're like, what? You went through that? The thing is, everybody has a story. I have a story. You know a little bit, a little part of it, but that's not all. There is so much more. And I'm sure that as you're watching, you have a story too. Wherever you are right now, you have a story. There is a journey behind where you are, how you got there. And sometimes for some of you, where you are is not where you thought you would be. And that could be a good thing or a bad thing. It could be you never saw yourself going this far, but look how far you've come. Or you thought you'd be a lot further along, but you're not quite where you thought you'd be. And I can say that for myself, professionally, creatively, I thought I would be a lot more further along than where I am. So again, there is a journey. This is not a video to make excuses, just stating the fact that there are things that happened in the journey, in my journey, that have caused me to be where I am. And I know that there are things that have happened in your journey too. I know for a fact that there is no successful person, not one, that you ask, what was it like? How did you get here? And they tell you, oh, it was easy. I just did this and I did that. No, everybody has a journey. Everybody faced some difficult times. Everybody had mountains to climb, or mountains to go under, or mountains to break through. And it just depends on your journey. It depends on your destiny. It depends on the hands that have been given you. After I made the decision to bring the podcast back, I picked a name. Now, I knew I wanted to have conversations with people, but I did not have the logistics to do it in person. So I said, like, you know what? I'm going to talk to people virtually. We're going to record these episodes virtually, and then I'm going to share them with you. Momentum was high. I was doing the thing. I had picked a name. I had picked all these things. I had contracted my daughter's uncle for free, unpaid, to help me with some things. And he came over and we're in the middle of this thing. We're so excited. He's really excited. And then another thing happens. My father got kidnapped. Now, if it was the Vera before, this would have been a pause, and it would have taken me a long time to get back up, to recalibrate and get back into. But I was like, no, 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 no. I'm not going to let this stop me. I've already started and I'm determined to see the end of it. So it slowed me down, but I didn't stop. I kept going, just slower than I was before, but I kept going. And you know what I learned in that moment? It's that starting over is not weakness. In fact, if anything, is a show of strength, because the brain power, the emotions, the mental capacity it took for me to say, yes, I know my dad was kidnapped, and I know I just spent all this money trying to get him out of the kidnapper's den. And that has eaten into what I was supposed to be spending on reviving my podcast. But I'm going to keep going. I may move slower, but I'll keep going. It made me realize starting over is not for everybody. Truly, it's not for the weak. Because not only are you battling yourself, but the fact that you got to start over all over again. You're starting over again. Like, this is not even the first time you started over. You're starting over again. It takes so much strength to actually get to that place mentally. So I was very proud of myself that in spite of the challenges, I was moving forward. And if you're watching this, I just want to tell you, if you're at that position where you have to start again, think about this. If you don't start, how will you ever know? How will you ever get to the place you dream of getting to? Also, you're not starting afresh from ground zero. You're starting from experience. Yes, physically, it may be ground zero where you're going, no, I got to do everything I did, I got to do it all over again. It might be physically ground zero, but mentally, it isn't ground zero. Emotionally, it's not ground zero. Mentally, did I already say mentally? It is not ground zero because you're starting from experience, you're starting from knowledge. I also want to say this part. There is no kind of preparation that can prepare you enough for the actual execution. Before I started doing my YouTube videos again, these videos you're watching. Do you know how many prep videos I watched? How to do this on YouTube, how to be that, how to be. I watched everything. But most of the lessons I learned have been from actually executing the project, from actually putting a video out. Because I'm one of those people that will overthink everything. I will overplan everything. I want it to be perfect. I want to know the steps one, two, three, four. I want everything ready. Everything is where it's supposed to be. And then I start. But what I realized was I will never get there. There would never be a time where I'm prepared enough to start. I just gotta start. So that's what I did. I started. I cleaned up my YouTube, took down videos that I didn't want to be there, and I started again. And it's been quite a process. Now, has the channel grown as much as I wanted to? No. But has it grown? Absolutely. Am I going to stop? You know I won't. I'm going to keep going. Even if it's excruciating that I'm not at the place I want to be. Like, I want to go from 0 to 100. Leave it up to me. I want to put up one video, go to bed, wake up, I'm like, oh my God, I went viral. I have like 10 million subscribers overnight. That's what I would like. But it hasn't happened. Does it mean it won't? It can't? No. It just means that I'm going to keep going. So I'm saying to you, if you are that person, keep going. Those have been my favorite two words. On days I feel discouraged, literally, like this morning, I said, keep going. I went upstairs, I put my makeup on, I even added eyelashes for extra effect, and I am here because what? I will keep going. And that is exactly why I'm bringing the podcast back. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Like I said, it's called How Did You Get Here with Verastic. These are the stories I want to share on the podcast. I want to share stories of people who are winning. I want to share their stories of triumph because I know that they were not winning every time. I know that it took a lot to get here. It's not just for people who are winning financially with money. No, no, no. Winning takes different shapes. It could be someone who got out of a divorce. It could be someone who battled infertility and now they've won. But I want to know the journey. I want to know where you started from. I want to know the things you went through. I want to know how you got here. And I am so passionate about these stories. And I hope you join me when this podcast is live exactly 2 weeks from today, Tuesday, October 7th, 2025. It's going to be on. I can't wait for you to share this podcast with me. I can't wait for you to see what I've been working on behind the scenes for months now. I can't wait for you to see. Actually, today on Instagram, I put up a video explaining the name. How did you get here? Why I picked the name? Because yesterday I asked people, I put up a short video of Verastic on the wall asking people, what do you think? So today I'm explaining it and it's out there on Instagram. I'm also going to put up a video showing you behind the scenes, how we painted the wall, how we picked the paint, this, that, and the other. I'm going to show you behind the scenes of that. And I'm really excited. Over the next 2 weeks, starting from today, or actually yesterday, over the next 2 weeks, I will be sharing content related to the podcast and how we got to where we are today, or how we're going to get to where we're going to be in 2 weeks. All the same. So, sweet potatoes, I cannot wait to indulge you. Is it me indulging you or you indulging me? Okay, we indulge each other as we go on this journey because we're going on this journey together. You and I, we're going on it together. Eventually, you and I are going to have to explain how did we get here to wherever that place is. How did we get here? We're going to explain it. And I can't wait to do it with you. I don't think I made it clear, but this podcast, How Did You Get Here with Verastic, is going to be on YouTube, of course, but it's also going to be on Apple Podcasts. It's going to be on Spotify. It's going to be on anywhere you listen to great podcasts. Is going to be there. And if there's a place you listen and you don't find it there, please let me know. The easiest way is probably to type Verastic versus the How Did You Get Here, but you can type it all. It's going to come up anyway. So I'm really looking forward to you seen that side of me. You mean you might have heard that side of me when I had the audio podcast, but now you're gonna see that side of me. Huh? You see what I did there? Huh? 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 Before I leave you, sweet potatoes, please, if you enjoyed this video or any video on this channel, would you consider subscribing? Every single subscription takes me closer to my goal. Every single like, every comment, every share, I appreciate everyone, and every view, of course. I appreciate every single, literally when I get the email sometimes that says this person has subscribed to to your YouTube channel, I do a little happy dance. I'm so excited every time somebody joins the community, every time someone joins the family. So please do not forget to subscribe if you enjoyed this video or any other video on this channel. And please subscribe to the newsletter. It's free. And I enjoy sharing those newsletters with you. I enjoy being more intimate and personal in there. And sometimes I share things in the newsletter that I don't share out on social media. So if you haven't, the link is in the description. Please subscribe. Join us. Again, thank you so much, sweet potatoes, for your time. I have enjoyed the journey so far, and I look forward to all the magic we're going to create together. Thanks for watching. Bye.